Hello, this is Mr. Bacon Bits, and welcome back to the final part for Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. This one, I am going to view this equals side story. In case you're wondering, and you're just like jumping to the end for some reason, in order to get this side story, you have to finish all 12 parts of the other side stories. And then this will open up. Now, there is some other stuff that will open up at 100% completion. I will show that right after covering this side story. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start equals. Okay, everyone. We're going to be taking a break from the usual activities today. I was thinking since people are starting to talk about the festival, it's a good time for us to go over the general direction of the club and all that. I think it'll help us figure out what to do for the festival, you know? Oh, Sayori and I already came up with a really good plan. Really? For the festival? Yeah, so the plan is this, okay? You and Yuri collect information ahead of time on which clubs and classes are doing food booths. Then we take a map and plan the most efficient route so we can get to most of them before the lines get too long. Hey, that has nothing to do with the club. Well, you have to let me finish. Alright, fine, go ahead. Right, so basically we get all the food we can, then we come back here and we all eat together. That's all. Wow, I got tricked twice by the same joke. Boo, don't be a hater. It's not like you can come up with anything better. Look, even Yuri was thinking about it. No, I wasn't. I would really prefer to do something literature-related. We can eat together anytime. The festival is a unique opportunity. Besides, it's been quite a while since we've seen any new interest in the club. Yeah, this definitely seems like this is like an alternate reality. Like an alternate timeline where Monika never gets that epiphany that she's in a game and the main character never shows up. So, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. We really get a shot at showing people what the Literature Club is all about. I'll tell you what, we can do both, right? We'll make time for your food mission and still put together a public event. Oh my gosh, yes! I was just joking, but that's a really good idea. Well, I'm glad that's settled. I think the question is how to come up with an event that demonstrates everything you can get out of the Literature Club. Well, that's kind of tough because everyone gets something different out of the club. Okay, how about this? Let's go around and have each of us talk about what we've gotten out of the club so far. That could really help us figure out what kind of reputation we want to build. Yeah! That's too embarrassing. Aw, but you'd have so much to talk about. That's exactly why. And I'm sure Natsuki feels the same way. Well, maybe, but I didn't plan on arguing against it or anything. I mean, it's the Literature Club. We talk about that stuff together, right? And the only way to get more comfortable with it is to suck it up and do it. Oh, you're not wrong. I'm sorry for being resistant. It's not good to say suck it up because it sounds like their feelings don't matter. Right, my bad. It's just a habit I need to break. Well, anyway, who's gonna start? I'll start! I was the first to join after all. Well, wouldn't that be me? No, I want to go first! Fine, you can start. I don't mind. Yay! So, oh gosh, it feels like so long ago. I think I joined because I wanted to have fun sharing poems with people. It seemed like it would be a safe way to express myself. You know, like if it's just a poem, then I can share it without feeling like I'm burdening everyone with my problems. And I thought it would be a really good way to get to know other people, too. So yeah, I was really surprised when I walked in and it was just Monika. And she was sleeping. Don't remind me of that, oh gosh. Yeah, but it seemed like so much fun to help start a new club. Especially since writing helped me so much, I wanted to see it help other people, too. But it ended up being me who was inspired, because I remember feeling like Monika was just so sweet and mature, and that I could trust her with anything. It made me feel a lot less alone, having someone who knew even the bad things about me. And at that point, I knew the literature club was going to be special for a lot of people. Yeah, I felt the same way. It really helped give the club a more cohesive vision. Yeah, and then Yuri joined, but she was so different from us, and Natsuki too. I think for Yuri, it really helped for me to take the lead before she was able to open up a little. But Natsuki was kind of the opposite, where she wasn't ready to get really close to someone really quickly. I never really thought about that sort of thing. I really feel like I've gotten better at understanding people's different needs.
Well, this is definitely like recapping the entire side story, huh?
And that makes me really happy, because my friends are just the most important thing to me. And whatever new members we get, I want to help them in those ways too. I don't know if I would have continued coming to the club if it weren't for you. Really? Mm-hmm. I know it wasn't too long ago, but it hurts to think about my behavior back then. I was really short-sighted. The only reason I came was to find others who were into fantasy. I suppose that was my idea of making friends with people. And I remember feeling uncomfortable because you and I have such different energy. I had such a specific idea of the kind of person I could be friends with, so when Sayori tried so hard to get to know me, I felt like I was just wasting her time. I think I was naive to assume that similar interests were the key component of friendship. Sayori and I were able to be friends because she always thinks about the needs of other people. That's something I never knew how to do, or even thought to do. But I stayed in the club thanks to that, and I started trying as hard as I could to understand people better. You really went above and beyond when it came to that. I was just super impressed. Well, I always hated that I didn't know how to behave like a person who was easily liked by others, like the two of you can. And because of that, I spent so much time thinking about my own behavior and all the wrong things I said. But the whole time I should have been thinking about other people instead, not myself. Once I started doing that, I was able to make friends with everyone else. Oh, also, I discovered that sometimes I'm a better communicator when I take the time to write rather than speak. It's so strange the way things turned out. It's so far different from anything I ever would have expected. But I'm happy. I suppose we don't always know what we really need. Oh my gosh! You're so cute that I'm gonna throw up! Okay, please don't do that, Sayori. Besides, I'm not cute. Hey, isn't that my line? Oh, well, for me it's actually true, so... Well, what are you saying? Nothing. I finished my part, so somebody else take their turn. My heart! Sayori, take some deep breaths. Okay, fine, I'll go. Yuri, I can't believe you were complaining about doing this and still went before me. What a show-off. I was just following up on Sayori. It was the easiest way to get it over with. Besides, you left out the most important thing that you get out of this club. I did? Yeah, a regular supply of your favorite cupcakes. Oh no, I forgot that too! I'm a traitor to the Cupcake Queen. Neither of you are forgiven. Looks like only Monica will be getting cupcakes next time. No! I can't eat that many cupcakes. Yeah, true. Only Yuri can. Hey! Well, anyway, I'm just putting off talking. It's kind of hard to talk about this stuff. But I guess what it comes down to is that I'm in a much better place mentally than I was when I first joined. And that's because everyone helped me realize that I had some really toxic friendships going on outside the club. It was honestly a really painful thing to go through, having to cut them out. It still hurts to think about. I'm sorry, Natsuki. It's fine. I knew it was for the best, and I was right. I guess for me it's all about feelings. I was only ever ridiculed for having feelings, so I thought the right thing to do was just ignore them. It took me a really long time to realize that it's not really how things are supposed to work. And I guess that's thanks to everyone who took the time to respect my feelings, even when I was being like the biggest jerk. I'm really sorry for being such a jerk to everyone. I really was the worst.
Natsuki's voice chokes a little.
We love you, Natsuki. I just hate that I was like that. Everyone did so much for me and I could never do anything in return. That's not true. Natsuki, you've done a lot more than you think. This club really wouldn't have been the same without you. I mean that. Remember how judgmental I was when you first showed up? It was like I couldn't accept anything other than my own idea of what a literature club was supposed to be. Apparently that was more important to me than the opportunity to bring you some happiness. You really taught me that anything that makes someone happy is worthy of respect. You even inspired me to start playing piano. That's something that means a whole lot to me. So there's no need to put yourself down. Okay.
Natsuki wipes her eyes.
You helped me a lot too. It's so much fun to have you around. And you helped me become a better person. Having a problem doesn't make you needy or inconvenient. It means that there's something that needs to be better for you, and you always deserve that. I agree. Seeing us have some of the same struggles made me a better person as well. I wouldn't want to change anything about our time here. I don't think any of us would. I'm sorry I got all dramatic again. That's all I wanted to say, so Monica can go now. There's no need to apologize. It was something I wanted to talk about anyway, because it made a big difference for me. I was always such a strict perfectionist who never took enough time to believe in the best of other people. But everyone kept proving me wrong. I made the mistake multiple times, thinking that my way was the best for everyone. Or thinking that I was needed to solve other people's problems. But I think being a leader means that you have to acknowledge that you're not perfect, and that the best thing you can do is to help guide people, rather than to do everything for them. We're all good people. We're all equals. I think that's the most important thing I've gotten out of the club, realizing what that really means. Sayori, what are you doing? I just thought that we should be writing some of these things down. Things about the club that are valuable to us.
With a piece of chalk in her hand, Sayori writes the word trust on the chalkboard.
This is because you showed me that I could trust you with everything about me, not just my good side.
Suddenly Yuri takes a piece of chalk as well. She writes, understanding. Here we go, the explanation for the side story names.
I owe a lot of gratitude to everyone who took the time to understand me, even though it was so difficult for me to express myself. In that case...
Monica takes a piece of chalk as well, and writes the word respect.
I always thought I was a respectful person, but it took the club for me to realize that there was more to it than I thought, and I'm a better person because of it. I have another one!
Sayori writes, balance.
Sometimes people want different things out of a friendship, or they need time before they're ready to become close. So it's important to keep things balanced between you and the other person. That reminds me.
Yuri writes reflection.
I've always been a reflective person, but most of it has been nothing more than hating myself for all the things I thought I did wrong. Once I started reflecting on other people, and not just myself, a lot of things changed for me. So I think that's the most important one for me. That's great! We have a whole list of things now.
Suddenly, everyone turns to look at Natsuki.
Well, everyone took all the chalk. Don't look at me like that, jeez. You could have just asked.
Monica hands her piece of chalk to Natsuki. Then, Natsuki sighs and writes self-love.
I don't know how far I've gotten with it yet, but it feels like things are at least on the right track. So, there, that's my contribution.
Together, everyone stares at the words on the board.
Wasn't this club supposed to be about literature? It is! We still do a lot of literature. Friendship and literature. Yeah, you're right. Friendship and literature.
Natsuki and Yuri gently nod as well. Excuse me a second. Okay.
Hey, let's all take a picture together. We don't have one yet, right? Hey, you're right! Make sure you send it to me after. Wait, can I brush my hair first or something? Oh, you're fine. You already have the best hair out of all of us. Everyone get together. I can't fit you all in. Okay. Okay, everyone ready? And click! I'm really glad we talked about this stuff. It's easy to forget how far we've come with only 4 members. Yeah! I have so many happy thoughts right now. I'm getting some really good inspiration for a poem. You know, I feel the same way. I kind of want to get some writing done. Me too. I think I would like that as well. Everyone's looking at me again. I'll do it too, but I might not feel like sharing it. That's okay. The 4 members of the Literature Club disperse and return to their desks, each equipping themselves with a pen. Natsuki and Yuri give each other a quick glance, then start writing immediately. Sayori stretches, then does the same. But Monika is left tapping her pen against the paper, unsure of where to start. Just move your hand, Monika mouths to herself. Right the way into your heart. Her mind full of thoughts, memories, and inspiration, Monika navigates past her mental barriers and begins to write. It doesn't matter what, just that it's something new. Oh! This is it! Okay. Okay, that's pretty cool. I didn't think we'd actually get like a credit sequence, but I guess it makes sense. You know, overall, the side stories was really needed. Because otherwise, I mean, you do learn quite a bit of the characters, but you don't really get a sense that they were actually friends with each other. At least that's how I interpreted things with the main game. Like, individually you learn about the characters, but in terms of them interacting with each other, this one was really well done. Like, the writing is really good. And just really, really believable interactions, I think. And again, it seems like the side stories are kind of like an alternate timeline where things don't go wrong. Because they were all like talking about the they were all talking about the festival and all that and getting ready for it. When I believe in the main game they don't start talking about the festival until like maybe the second day, maybe second day after the first poem, something like that. Yeah. Thank you, dear player, for enjoying our story of friendship and literature. Well, thank you for providing us with an expanded version of Doki Doki Literature Club. But, oh, here's the selfie that they all took. That's nice. And with that, this actually unlocked a bonus CG of them making funny faces. I didn't notice that before. Yuri makes a mustache with her own hair. That's funny. Okay. So, yeah. That is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. Since I already did a Let's Play of the main game, I won't be coming back to it. But, there are a couple of things that I am
away from completing, but I'm going to cut away so that I can get 100%, and I will show you what happens when, what unlocks when you get 100%. And in case you were wondering, the data collected part right there, that's how you get 100%, or that's how you track 100%. So I'm very close. I just need to pretty much get one more poem. One more special poem, which is RNG related, and I hate that, but yeah. In case you were wondering, before I cut away, the parts that were at the beginning of each, those little parts that were at the beginning of each video, those were me showing the special files that were added to this version that you can look for. And there's kind of like a little puzzle involved in trying to get them to open, such as like where the files can be found and finding a specific time frame that you can open them at, because these certain files can only be opened at a certain time, because otherwise it'll just give you that. And basically I was trying my best without commentary to show how to reach each file. But yeah, having said that, this will be it for right now. And I will be right back. Like, it'll be a couple seconds for you, but it might take me a while for me. But I will be back with 100% completion and show you what's going on. What happens with 100% completion. So, see you then. Hello again. Bet I kind of surprised you with this background. But, as it turns out, just after I've finished recording, I tried going for that last special poem again, and I actually got it. First fucking try. After so many other times I've tried. So, now I have 100% data collected. So a couple of things will unlock for doing that. First, the last piece of mail. From Paula Minor. And yes, I do have music playing, just so that it's not going to be awkwardly silent. This one. We need to have a meeting about shifting our focus a little bit. We've reset VM1 how many times now? For real, we've definitely collected as much data as we can from it at this point. We just need to work with what we have and try to increase the stability of our connection to VM2. With all of the files that I've looked through, and I'll get into them shortly, with all of the files that I've looked into, VM2 looks like it might be a teaser to Dan Salvato's next game. So yes, he's teasing even more that he's going to have a second game coming. When? I'm not sure, but it sounds like he does have a plan for it. Anyway, we've obviously gotten spoiled by the ease of access that VM1 offers us, but it's just unrealistic for someone in real life to be granted a level of elevation even close to monitor kernel access. Kinda looks like Monica, huh? If we can't establish a stable connection to VM2, then how can we expect to get anywhere when the same scenario inevitably occurs to our own universe? Yeah, this is getting weird. Anyway, thanks to Ro's work, we were able to acquire a few rudimentary logs. I have an idea on how to increase connection stability to VM2 while maintaining weak hypervisor access to everyone inside on an individual basis. Ironically, it has to do with something that they're building in their own VM. I'll go into detail in a more formal report, but some of the log files indicate attempts of theirs to pool together the access potential of multiple individuals into a single parallel unit. It sounds ridiculous, but if they actually get somewhere with it, then we might have a solid entry point that doesn't heavily intrude upon the VM. I'm going to spin up a read-only hypervisor that we can use to test different ideas like this. The elevation level will be set to Monitor Adjacent Runtime Level Access. M-A-R... Marla? Wonder if that's going to be a character in the next game. Marla? The VM will just be named Test VM for now, although the parallel access unit they're building in the VM seems to be called Project Libitina, which was teased if you dug through the original game's files. According to the few logs we have, we can change the name once we actually get a decent picture of it. Alright, that's the last email. In case you were wondering, you get a new email after 55%. You get your first email at 55% data collection, and then a new one every 5% up until you get 8 emails, and then you get this one for 100%. So they talked about a test VM. We can actually access that. It's here in the side stories. Now, funny enough, when this first launched, consoles had trouble accessing this. It was just a bug. So, they actually patched it. Thank goodness they patched it before I got to this point. Otherwise, I would have been kind of disappointed. Anyway, let's take a look at Test VM, shall we? Sourcing our medication, if they are also able to supply. Connection lost. So, you'd get multiple kinds of messages every time you boot up Test VM. I'm not going to go through it, but for the breakthrough achievement that is on consoles with achievements or PC version, there is one message that appears as a VM test code. It is 54, 42, 15, and then 2:14. That sounds like a hint to unlock a file, doesn't it? Indeed it is. So how do we determine where to find that file? Well, let's go into the internal, and let's try 54. So that means directory 5 is missing here. Keep note of that. Next is 42. 42. Directory 0 is missing. Next, 15. 1, 5. Directory 1 is missing. So, add up those missing directories together, and you can go to 5, 0, and 1. You find this text document. Not all of these directories come to a file that you can open. Now, unfortunately, I can't open this right now. It needs to be at a specific time. 2:14. So that means it has to be at 2:14, either AM or PM. So, excuse me while I change the console's clock real quick. Okay, 2:14 PM. We should be able to open this. Dearest Ive, where are the years going? Doesn't it feel like ever since we graduated, we're just the same doofy college kids, but we're being put into increasingly adult situations? It's hard to believe how much can happen in just 1 year. But all of my memories this year are full of reminders why you've been my very best friend for so long. My gratitude for you is higher reaching than the mountains I'm going to live in after faking my death. Throwback to you actually entertaining that plan after helping me break up with Daphne. To this day, I can never tell how serious or joking you are about things, or life in general. But I think I would literally implode if I didn't have you to remind me that things never matter as much as they seem in the moment, and that things will always be okay. Imagine if we really do end up working together at Metaverse. That's literally the only way I think I'd be capable of coping with a mundane desk job. I know you said that your referral of me won't go very far because you're not a senior engineer, but as I'm coming out of my rough patch, it's the future I imagine for myself every day. I'm sorry for always being such a bundle of stress. I always feel like I want to be doing more for you, because the amount you do for me just seems like more than anything I could give back. You inspire me to always improve, and when I don't believe in myself, I stay motivated to become a better person so that I can deliver all my best qualities to you. I love you and I always will until we face the end of the world together. Wishing for another 14 million years of friendship. With everlasting love, Paula. So that's pretty sweet. But yeah, lots of clues about... There's lots of clues in these files about the next VM. And you're going to need to open all openable files, except for the ones generated by the game. Yeah, you'll have to open all secret files in order to get the Steam and console achievement breakthrough. Now, to get 100%, there's a few things you must need to do. Mostly, it's here in the pictures. But, first off, you have to go to music and have to unlock the entire soundtrack. You can do this by playing through the main game as well as all of the side stories. But then there's this right here, Candy Hearts with a Z. You start off with Candy Hearts and Dear Sunshine. Why is it not playing? Anyway, yeah, you start off with these two. At some point, I think it's random. It might have to be when the game is in Act 2, when everything starts glitching up. But yeah, just to be safe, go to Act 2. At some point, if you go to the music menu and try to play Candy Hearts, it may corrupt. It may sound corrupt and start, sounding really, really creepy and scary. Which is what you saw at the beginning of one of my videos. Once it does that, you basically exit music and go back into it, and Candy Hearts with a Z should be an option. So that's one of the things that goes toward data collection. And of course, well, I don't know about the mail. But yeah, so pretty much get that hidden music piece and finish the main story and all the side stories. Now for the pictures, which is the main meat of it. Let's go into these. These are all of the default ones that you start with. These are all the default wallpapers you start off with. This one, you need to finish the side story Trust Part 1. This one, you need to finish the side story Respect Part 1. Understanding Part 1. Trust Part 1. Balance Part 2. Respect Part 2. Understanding Part 2. Balance Part 2. Reflection Part 2. Respect Part 2. And here we go. This wallpaper is unlocked by finishing the poem game in 20 seconds or less. Extremely easy to do, just mash the A button. This one, find the word kawaii during the poem game and select it. Pretty simple. Sayori's first poem. You can get this like automatically. Along with this one, Sayori's second poem. A poem from Sayori by Sayori from the Side Story Trust. So basically just play through the side story to get this one. As well as this one. Yes. Natsuki's first poem. Again, you just get this by playing the main game. As normal. Natsuki's second poem. Natsuki's third poem. In order to get this, you have to indulge Natsuki and write poems for her. Otherwise, she will just not bother. Natsuki's special poem acquired by writing all 3 poems for her. There we go. This is actually a unique one that you can't see in-game, so if you want to pause and read it, go ahead. A poem by Natsuki from the side story Balance. Again, just play this side story. Yuri's first poem, second poem, those are gotten normally. Yuri's third poem, you have to actually indulge Yuri and write poems for her in order to get this one. Yuri's special poem acquired by writing all 3 poems for her. Again, if you want to read this, go ahead and pause the video. I won't stop you. I can't stop you. An unusual poem by Sayori. This one you get by playing through Act 2. Monika's first poem. This one is gotten automatically. Second poem. That load me is always weird. Monika's third poem. Yeah. I believe you get these automatically. You don't have to worry about that. A continuation of Monika's first poem appearing only in Act 2. Self-explanatory. Monika's poem to the player in Act 3. Again, this is self-explanatory. You get this automatically. A special gratitude received by achieving full completion of the story. There's also this one. These are both ending letters. This one is just playing the game through normally. This one, I did in the main Let's Play. You basically have to, all in Act 1, you have to spend time with all of the girls in Act 1 before the final day, where you know what happens. And you basically have to save and reload a bunch so that you can get all of the CGs from all of the characters. Once you get that, you get a true ending, and then you unlock this. A poem from Sayori distributed at special events in the past. You have to acquire all of Sayori's other poems in order to get this. So if you want to read this, go ahead. Same thing for this. Acquire all of Natsuki's other poems. And this one, acquire all of Yuri's poems. Can't really read the last part of it, but probably can if I set it as a wallpaper. Acquire all of Monika's other poems. This one is... Yeah, I guess just play through the game, get an ending. Get the Act 3 ending, and you can get this. Here we go with the CGs. Write a poem for Sayori. Write a poem for Yuri. Write a poem for Natsuki. You can get these CGs at any point in Act 1, just so that you know. But these CGs right here, you have to spend 2 days with them, with these characters. Write a poem for Sayori in both the first and second poem games. Write a second poem for Natsuki. Write a second poem for Yuri. And this one is choose to help Yuri for festival preparations. Choose to help Natsuki for festival preparations. And reply I love you to Sayori's confession. All of these CGs are what you need in order to get that true ending letter. Just Monica. You get this automatically. And then these are the CGs for finishing all of the side stories. You saw them all already. And yeah, you get 2 CGs for finishing the equals side story. Now for the special poems. The ones that require RNG. One of 11 special poems, DDLC selects 3 random special poems to appear when it is started for the first time. Some of these special poems are actually images and they don't actually count towards file completion. So that's kind of frustrating. But yeah, you get these for file completion. This one, I actually missed. I actually kind of messed up on. What I did not do is I didn't stare at the dot to reveal a special message. I just clicked through it. If you click through this without having the dot change into I love you, and you just have to stay on there for like about 10 seconds maybe. If you don't do that, this won't unlock. So you have to make sure that the dot changes into I love you. And again, here's the other special poems. And this creepy-ass thing. This unusual screen somehow appeared when launching DDLC during Act 2. This was a pain and a half to unlock as well, because this is entirely RNG. Basically, once you get to Act 2, just quit and boot up DDLC until it brings up this image. It took a really long time. But yeah, here are all of the backgrounds. You get these by playing through the main game as well as some of the side stories. Specifically these two, I believe you have to spend time with Yuri and Natsuki over the weekend in Act 1 in order to get both of those. But yes, the other ones can be unlocked like normal. Here we go with some special ones. Select the word Doki Doki during the poem game. That's fairly straightforward. In Act 1, try both Sayori and Monica for weekend help before choosing Natsuki or Yuri. Obviously, the game won't let you spend time with those characters during the weekend, but you have to select them anyway. Delete Monica's character file before starting a new game. I don't know if I actually showed this off in the Let's Play, but it's kind of messed up. If you delete Monica's character file and then start the game, it starts with you in front of Sayori. She suddenly realizes that there's something wrong, and she goes crazy and ends up killing everybody. It's kind of messed up. But anyway, during the poem game, write a perfect poem for Natsuki. This basically means that you have to select all 20 words that Natsuki likes. So, yeah. In Act 1, write all 3 poems for Natsuki. Pretty self-explanatory there. During the poem game, write a perfect poem for Sayori. In Act 1, write all 3 poems for Sayori. In Act 1, attempt to load a save file after Sayori's death. Yeah. During the poem game, write a perfect poem for Yuri. In Act 1, write all 3 poems for Yuri. In Act 3, delete Monica's character file before she begins her monologues. Basically saying, like, I don't want to have anything to do with you. This is interesting. You actually see the protagonist. Provided in an email communication. I forget which email it is, but just read all of them and you can get this one. Achieve the special ending of the story. Again, this is like the true ending that I talked about. Achieve the special ending of the story. You get a number of things for getting the special ending. In Act 3, try to press the skip button while Monika is talking. It's not during her monologue. It has to be, it's not during her beginning monologue. It has to be one of those like individual topics that she brings up after the fact. So yeah, in case you're kind of confused about that. In Act 1, call Sayori for help during Natsuki and Yuri's argument. In Act 1, tell Sayori you would still walk home with her. Review the file poemwords.txt for any anomalies. There is actually something there, and it's involved with trying to open all of the files. In Act 2, experience Natsuki's Play With Me scene. I believe this one you basically just have to write poems for Natsuki all the time during Act 2 and you can get it. Maybe you have to do one for Yuri and then one for Natsuki at the next day. But I forgot the details of how to get this one. In Act 2, select a corrupt word during the poem game. What's a corrupt word? I mean, it'll be obvious when you see it. In Act 1, write a poem for a different character each chapter. And you unlock all of these for doing that. In Act 3, listen to at least 15 of Monika's monologues. So basically just spend time with her. This one, which I made my wallpaper, you get this by acquiring all the special poems. So this is probably like one of the last things that you'll get. In Act 2, make it through the weekend without pressing skip. Oh my god, this one was so... It was so time-consuming. But, yeah. This one, you get by finishing all of the side stories. Interestingly enough, it does not count the equals side story. It just counts the 6 main side stories. Select the word horror during the poem game. And then finally, for the last picture, delete Monika for the second time. You can do this by either playing the game twice, or just, delete her twice. It doesn't matter how you do it, you just have to delete Monika's character file twice. But anyway, that is finally it for Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. If you're curious about any of the other achievements, all of the rest of them can be unlocked by just getting 100% completion. I think there is an achievement for listening to music for at least 20 minutes, so I probably would have gotten the achievement just now for doing that. But anyway, it's been Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, 100% main game finished, all of the side stories. Can't wait to see what Dan Salvato has next. For the price for this game, I think it's really, really worth it. I mean, especially if you're interested in like all of the meta-universe stuff that's hidden in these files, and trying to be a completionist and get 100%, it's definitely worth like $15. It's definitely worth $15. I'd say go for it. Especially if you haven't played it before and have no idea what it's about. So with that said, this has been Mr. Bacon Bits with Doki Doki Literature Club Plus for the last time. Stay safe, happy and healthy, and I'll see you again, whatever else I tackle next. See you guys then.